Oh, my goodness. Women in construction, not just in admin, on the tools, plumbing, trading, tiling, all of those things. And there are more and more of them because we do have a skills shortage in Australia. And the tools are such that it's not so much about brawn anymore. There's more and more young girls going into apprenticeships, which is fantastic because there's good money in construction. That's great. So closing that pay equality gap, yay. And today I met Amanda Bulow at a networking event, and I just started chatting with her, and I peppered her with questions about what she's doing because it fascinated me. And Amanda is the founder of Awesome Women in Construction Association, that women who are in that field, either admin or on the tools, whatever they might be related to that field, where they can find support and network and know they're not alone and that they can be encouraged. Amanda Bulow, welcome to Trish TV.
Thank you. It's great to be here, Trish.
Oh, so good. Now tell me, what made you think, I know, I'm going to start an association for women?
Well, Trish, it wasn't necessarily as simple as that, or I didn't think that was what the outcome would be. I mean, I was missing a connection. I've had some great male bosses in my time that have taught me a lot, but I was still missing that connection with other women because it's a different conversation. So I simply invited 14 ladies that I knew in industry, and we had a breakfast back in 2017. And everyone loved it. And they said they wanted to do it again next month, so we did. And within 3 months, we had 48 ladies just attending.
Yeah, 48 ladies, and that's all through COVID. You've continued to grow.
Correct.
So you're presumably meeting online.
Yep, we were meeting online. Yep.
Well, I just got so excited to get stuck in there. I didn't do my intro video. We're going to do that now, and that's going to give you time. If you're watching this, that's going to give you time to tag people and share this with people that you think might be very interested. I'm just looking at my buttons to make sure I've got it. To might be interested in this discussion on women in construction, because the theme of this show is resilience. And we're building, it takes resilience to be in a field where you're not the majority, and takes confidence. And this is what Amanda builds. The strongest prison bars are in your head. Leaders and teams, it's time for a jailbreak. Welcome back. Now, Amanda, tell us a bit more about your background and what the association is about.
Yeah, so I've got over 20 years experience in residential construction, in procurement and estimating and writing tenders for government work. And so that's me. And then Awesome Women in Construction is exactly what we were just talking about. It's there to support and to let women in industry know that they're not alone, whether you're on the tools, whether you're at home doing the bills for your husband who's a painter or a tradie, or whether you're an estimator or a drafty or interior design, we're there to support you. And even for those of you that may be thinking of a career change, we're here to help.
Great. So you actually have the partners of the tradies are welcome to join as well. So they might not be in construction themselves, but having someone who might be married or partnered with someone who is, what a great support network to really get an idea of what's going on and to understand the job and how you can be an encouragement to them and to work together. That's fantastic. That's just great. I love that.
Yeah, and it's great that we can shed a bit of light on what their hubbies do or partners do when they leave at 6 and come home at 6. We can fill them in on what their role is within that bigger cog and how it helps our construction industry keep moving on.
That's true too, and even learn about the things that might be challenges. I know, with contracting, subcontracting, all of that sort of thing, and how the bills are paid and so on, and whether they're employed or under contract, or whether they have employees themselves. Because very often it'll be the partner who is doing the books at home if they're under in contracts, and so it's great that it's so inclusive as well. Now, here's the other thing. When I went to your website and I watched a few of the things going on, and I just was so delighted, surprised and delighted to see a senior gentleman, I think it was in Tees, I can't quite remember who he was with, giving a talk about the need, the appreciation for, and he really looked genuine. It wasn't just lip service, like that, we need more women in construction. There's a what is the benefit? I mean, apart from, we need more people doing it because it's a growing industry, what influence do women have in that industry as it grows? What does it do for the industry?
I think it brings another level of skill set, not just talking about whether you're laying bricks or tiles or whatnot, but we all have a different way we handle things, and women, whether it's on the tools or with that design aspect from an architecture point of view, they have a point of difference. They have that attention to detail where not always, is that something that the guys have. So, for one example, construction managers I've worked with would hire a female construction manager if they could find them. Painters have a great reputation as well because they'll go in and they'll paint the house once and you don't have to send them back to do touch-ups.
Well, it all sounds a little bit like reverse sexism in a way, isn't it? But it is true that when you have people who are diverse, they bring different skills to the table, and if they see things differently, then and quite often on the sensitivity and people skills as well, that it sounds old-fashioned, but it can be that women can have a more civilizing effect on, when fellas are in a pack together, they can devolve in some way. And I know this, look, I can't be politically correct here because we're talking about people who are natural people. They're doing physical things out there, and it is a masculine industry. It really is. It's taking a while. Things are changing from how it was. It had been quite a tough and often brutal industry, not just where women are concerned, but young apprentices being initiated in that. We want them coming home safely. We don't want them, getting electrocuted in roofs or anything, and we don't want them, locked in a portable toilet and have it dragged behind a truck. We want parents to be able to confidently encourage their young people into the industry. And so with changes to legislation and the anti-bullying laws, they're slowly filtering through. And I think having more women in that industry is going to help that along. Is that what you've seen? I don't want to put words in your mouth, but we were talking earlier about the tough stuff.
Yeah, and I think it comes down to as well communication and, owning your place, whether you're, having that confidence to own your spot on site or own your spot in the office. You deserve to be there. You have a right to be there. So own it. Walk in, shoulders back, head held high, and start the day.
I love that. Own it. Own your spot. I love that. So this is particularly good for younger women coming into the industry who may feel just a tad intimidated, possibly, or fellas too, but, coming in. And I'm going to turn that into, this is one of your tips for young women. Own your spot. Shoulders back, head up. You don't have to be rude and cocky and arrogant, but just know who you are. You've got qualified or you're doing your apprenticeship. Own it and learn it. And
you deserve to be there too.
Yeah, so I really like that. So tell me more how things might have changed over the years. Let's talk about that.
I think there's definitely I'm going to use the word acceptance for change on site. So whether that's legislation or whether that's welcoming in, a young lady to an apprenticeship, But it's also, I know there's a number of painting apprentices that are about to start, and in that is one lady who's had her children, and it's decided it's her time to do and follow her career pathway. So her youngest is now in school, so she's decided it's her time, and she's going to do a painting apprenticeship, and I think that's fabulous too. You know, you don't just have to be young to start an apprenticeship. You know, you just got to, you know, get out there and give it a go. And if today you want to do the apprenticeship, the one thing I just say is just finish it. Just finish it. It's not a life sentence. Just start it today, and once you've finished, I think these days particularly, it opens up so many more opportunities once you've done that trade.
That's really good advice, because quite often, you know, a young person or an older, but someone starting an apprenticeship, they might look at, well, you know, the casual over there is earning more than me, and they're able to go, you know, spending their money and buying things and so on, and yet I've got to have lower wages, and you know, and study as well. You know, you've got to be, you have to have a measure of literacy, or at least to get, and if you don't, I do know, because my background is in training, and you have to do to be a trainer, you've got to do an LLN call, which is literacy, language and numeracy. So anyway, it's about, even if you struggle with literacy, the workplace, their responsibility is to help you to understand. It's not just all chalk and talk anymore. So you're learning those things, and also to protect you from, that people don't need to know if you have a learning difficulty, only the person who's showing you stuff, and they'll be told that they have to be discreet about that.
And there's so much more access to all of those sorts of things now, Trish, than there was ever before, you know. Yeah. And if you need help, I guess the biggest thing, and something I've learned along the way, is just to ask for help. It's the biggest thing that I had to overcome, because, you know, surely we can do it all ourselves, right, Trish? We don't need anybody else's help, but the biggest thing, and something I learned early, and I'm still getting better at it, is asking for help, and most people are happy to do it.
Look, let me just grab you there, because I know we laugh about the stereotype that, you know, men don't ask for directions, but a woman will. But if you're a woman in a masculine industry, you might feel like, oh, I don't want to let on that I need help, because then they'll think I'm a woman and therefore that's weak, or whatever it is, which is really just pride, and it's worrying about what people think. So, yeah, that humility of being willing to ask for help, I think that's really important. And you're talking to women in the association all the time. How is that generally responded to when a woman says, hey, you know, Bill or James or, you know, whoever it is, you know, can you just show me how, you know?
Yeah, and look, most of the time they're happy to help, and generally it's when it's lifting something really heavy. And let's face it, when that's happening, we should ask for help anyway. But you'll also find the guys they may not be able to get into those tight spaces in the roof cavity and things like that as well. So it can work both ways.
Yes, it can. Littler fingers, those little spots. Yeah. Send Kelly up into the roof and to the back.
We don't want Kelly to go up there all the time, but yeah, you know, there's going to be ways that, and I think that's the biggest thing, that we can complement each other. It doesn't have to be an us and them situation at all.
No, it really should be that complementary thing. So that's just fantastic. And that's not to say that women are best suited for the admin roles either. There are plenty of fellas who are very good at admin. And like you said, there are smaller framed young men, you know, who haven't yet grown into, you know, because, well, let's face it, apprentices, they start at what, 16-ish? Somewhere around there. They can still be little then, and so, you know, if you need help lifting something, you need, and something might be too heavy for one man. Isn't the limit 50 kilos before you need to get help lifting something up by law? You've got to be careful.
It may even not be heavy, it's just awkward. You know, it could be anything that you've got to lift in and out of a spot or a situation, and it's just better to get someone to give you a hand, because, like you mentioned earlier, we want everyone to go home safe.
I love that. I love that. And that's the great thing about an association. You know, we're having this conversation online and having this interview, but this is, you know, this is the conversation you can have when you're part of an association and you get together, because you have physical get-togethers and you also get together virtually sometimes, don't you?
Okay.
So that and you've got a Facebook page as well that people can join. Now, while we're on this, I want to show everybody your website is awic.org.au.
Correct.
So that is something that people can make a note of. You can Google awesome women in construction. If you can't remember all of the words, just, you know, women in construction, and it will also come up. But it's awesome women in construction, awic.org.au. And in fact, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen. We're going to share this one, share, and
hey, there we are.
Right, there we are. Very good. Here's your website.
Yes.
So now, is that filling the screen? I might have needed to that.
There we go.
That's my yeah, good. I just wanted to make sure it was showing big. It wasn't just the it wasn't just in one little screen. I should have separated them on the screen. So that's okay. Look, we're all learning. We're all doing. So you build, we connect. The future of construction is female. I like that. And is now, where would you like me to explore on here? Look down here. Look, we've got it's a not-for-profit association providing supportive community to women working in construction. Join now. So there's a button there that you connect women there. So if they were to click on that, then that will. You might need.
Not what we want live.
Oh, there we go. You'll just fix that link.
It should be taking you to the memberships, and I will sort that out before when we jump out. But so you can go and you can check out the AV team.
Yep.
You can send us an email. You know, we often get.
There's the contact page there.
Yep.
Contact page. Now, Amanda has also got a podcast you can see up here, and an events page that people can have a look at. You've past events. You had International Women's Day, Mental Health Week, and look, you know. Your mental health is super duper important. It is absolutely critical. And so what I'm going to do now is stop sharing. Hang on. Stop screen. There we go. Yeah, talk to me about mental health in the workplace in construction for both men and women. Let's talk to that.
Yeah, look, I'm not sure of the exact facts, but it's one of the highest suicide rates for men in the industry. And it's something we need to, you know, be having a look at. And there's some great ads around, you know, where we just need to ask someone how they're doing. You know, and if it's a friend or a colleague and we know there's still something, they go, yeah, sure, it's all fine. But we know there's still something not right. Invite them to the pub for a beer or take them for a coffee and go, you know what? I've known you for a while and I know something's not quite right. And look, they still might not want to talk about it, but I think the biggest thing is letting them know that you're there to help them when they want to talk about it. The other thing,
No, is that because it is, and I know we're stereotyping, but it's true. It is a masculine industry where we are tough. We don't talk about our feelings, you know, and yet, you know, men need to talk, and perhaps they may not be as you know, some people are good with physical things. They're not so, they don't have quite such a, they're not as skilled with their vocabulary, so they don't always have the words to express. They might not even know why there's an ache and a dullness and a heart, heavy feeling inside them. They just express it, and quite often with men, it's that frustration is expressed in anger, because that's, you know, our culture says to men the only emotions it's okay to show are anger and lust, and anger is even more acceptable. That, you know, you've got to be a bit more discreet about when you're being pervy, and that's, you know, and so there's all this shame around healthy feelings that fellas in a tough environment that has all this, you know, masculine imagery around it, I think maybe that's one of the advantages of having women in that industry as well. So, I mean, it could be, I don't want to be soft in front of the Sheila. Or it might just be, you know what, you build a friendship, you build a working relationship, a collegial relationship. You're not sending the wrong messages, you know, but we're not talking flirting here. We're talking about genuine friendships where they maybe are able to go, you know what, my dog died and it's really upsetting me.
Yeah.
I just want to cry. And men are a lot more empathetic with one another than they think that, like they would be sympathetic for someone else. So why wouldn't they believe that, the blokes around them, wouldn't be sympathetic as well. So I think that's a healthy direction.
And as women, we're very good at, calling our girlfriends around, grabbing a bottle of wine or whatnot, and, having a conversation or pouring out what's, pissing us off or whatever it is. And we don't necessarily want someone to fix it. We just need to get it off our chest. And we're very good at that. But yeah, I think, times are changing too. It's okay for guys to show emotion. It's okay for them to, have a chat. And I think it's about enabling that with our younger generation and next generation coming through, letting them know that it's okay. And Dad having that conversation with Johnny or Sarah or whoever and going, you know what, I get it. I was your age once too.
I love that. And I see it happening. And my daughters, my youngest daughters, the twins, are 19. And so I get to meet their friends, from youth group, from work, from that they've been to school with. And there is, when I talk to the young fellas, they do seem to be more aware of, their emotions but also the equality factor, that they're not surprised at seeing a male nurse or a female chippy. They're like, oh yeah, because for them it's more normal.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really healthy thing.
They're probably working with them.
Yes. Yeah, they are. And that's really good. So I'm glad to see. And it is thanks to associations like yours that help open up that conversation and bring that support. And the bosses, like this, the girl that turned up, she was working for the fellow I engaged as a plumber. She was the offsider. And I asked her about that. She said, oh, I love it. She said, Tom's fantastic. And now it's a small crew, but I said, do you find in that environment, that they behave, they're sort of respectful and stuff. And she said, oh, look, blokes are blokes. She said, but they're, they're good. She said, I don't get treated badly. And they're quite protective.
Yeah.
So that's kind of sweet. It's I think kind of nice.
Absolutely, and it's for businesses to, give them a shout out as well. I'm heading to a breakfast tomorrow with a painting company who want to, say thank you to their female apprentices and office staff. It's just for the ladies. It's a simple thank you, and I think that's great too. And it's been fabulous to be invited to come along to that and continue that connection and that networking, because it's incredibly important. It's something that I have done for a long, long time, and it is critical to your mental health. It's critical to your career progress. It's all of those things. And, we all have different people. We call it different points in our day, maybe just to, touch base with them. Or sometimes you might get that, that feeling in your stomach that you just need to call Sally or you need to call Kerry, and for no other reason than you've just got this sixth sense, and then you call them or send them a text message and go, hey, thinking of you with a smiley face. There's a reason that's tuning in with you, and you don't know why, but later on you generally find out that they've had a bad day or they've got some bad information, and that simple text message can just make them smile and put that spring back in their step.
I love it. It's that support. And, it benefits who they work for as well, because they're coming to a networking event. Yeah. So, have some business cards on you for either your business or if it's your boss's business, and then you can say, look, you don't know who you're going to network with who could work together, you know, sparkies and plumbers and different ones working together. You know, whether it might be solar panels. There's all sorts of referrals where, you know, I know my husband contracts for solar panels and sales of them. He doesn't fit them on the roof, but you know, you just get to know different industries, and you can refer people and all that sort of thing. So, you know, if anybody needs solar panels, just get in touch with me and
and it's also, it's not necessarily the first layer of people that we meet, but it's who they know too, Trish. And we sometimes forget about that value.
Yep. And the thing is too, when you have you know this in the trade industry, you know who's reliable and sound and good, and you know who's dodgy after a while. And you prefer to work with the ones who you know they're going to turn up. If you've got a customer and you've done one part of their construction, you want to be able to recommend someone that they're going to turn up, they're going to do the job the way it's supposed to be done. They're not going to overcharge because they're taking advantage of someone who doesn't know any better, and they're not going to need to come back and fix it up. Or if something happens and they do need to, because some things happen, that they come back immediately and they fix it and they do a good job, and the customer is really, really happy. Because I know one thing that I've noticed with the trade trainings is I don't think there is yet. They might do some business management, but I'm not convinced. Maybe it's changed since, but the last time I inquired, there were no units on customer service. That we need to teach our tradies customer service skills, because they're at someone's home very often. And we can't assume that everybody's been brought up the same way with the same kind of manners and expectations that the homeowner might expect. So that's something.
Taking your boots off at the front door, pleases and thank yous. You're not on a construction site. You're in somebody's home, and you don't know that there's not a little human that's 2 or 3 years old who is in the next room, and they're very good at picking up on language that they shouldn't necessarily pick up on. Right?
Well, absolutely they are. You know, if I have someone come to my home, I don't want them looking like, I mean, and we've had people come and give quotes. I don't want to think they look like they're casing the place. You know, you want to, and so when you find a good one, you hang on to them and you keep using them and you refer them. So very, very good. Well, Amanda, my goodness me, what an interesting chat it has been, and what a wonderful service you offer with that association. If you are in the construction industry, if you know someone, if you know a woman, and if you know fellas in the construction industry who may have females working with them, please, by all means, like the video, subscribe to my channel, but share this. There's our little subscribe button down there if you're on the YouTube. But by all means, please share it and send them the link, and get in touch with Amanda at awic.org.au.
Fabulous.
And Amanda is very articulate. She's very good at giving talks as well.
Yes.
So even though professional speaking might not be her trade, she's very, very good at sharing the vision and talking and encouraging. And maybe even if you've got an opportunity for her to speak to your women in your workplace, that would be awesome. And likewise with myself, if you have got an opportunity or an inclination or a conference or something, and you want someone to talk about being resilient in the 21st century, resilience requires skills that are more updated than what we could get away with in the 80s and 90s. So hire me to come and speak. But Amanda, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you, and I look very much forward to moving forward and seeing the growth and the progress of everything that you're doing with women in the workplace.
Fantastic. Thanks for inviting me on, Trish. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you.
Wonderful. Bye, everybody.
See you later.